No joke. You can just type !PC King Gyms and yeah, check that out. You can just build the same PC I have if you want. Well, you get your groceries delivered. That's even more expensive. Dude, I filled up my wife's gas tank the other day. It was $100. $100 for a crossover. $100, dude. Hmm. It 20-gallon tank is a big boy. I mean, no, it's just a crossover. It's not like a huge vehicle. It's a Cadillac XT6, so it's a bigger crossover, but it's still just a crossover, you know. What, to be honest, I'm just gonna, what the? I'm just gonna put all 3 ADSs here. Why not? Hold this.
Down to 10 seconds. 5 seconds and counting.
Yep. Man, I feel very fortunate. I do not drive that much, so it's like your 4-door sedan has an 18-gallon tank, bone dry. Yeah, I don't know how big the tank is on my wife's car. It was like, I think 5.19 a gallon or something, I want to say. This guy is actually a ludicrous Oryx player. What are you doing? Like, what? I actually threw this out here and then just lays? And the glory, like, okay. I don't even know what to do against that, I'm gonna be honest with you. In Norway, diesel is $10 a gallon. I mean, Europe is not really comparable. I always tell people that, like, even if gas is much more, the XC6 is a 22-gallon tank. That makes sense, maybe. Europe is not really comparable. If you don't pay a dime for gas, well, that's good, Preston. Yeah, I know. I think your company pays for it, right? Which is good. But I mean, in Europe, you don't really like have to take a car, or if you do have to take a car, the distances are not as long. In the US, like it's very common to drive like 10, 20 miles to work every day. You know, if you want to go to certain restaurants or certain shopping areas or whatever. I mean, you're talking, 20, 30-mile round trips. Obviously, people are not doing those as much anymore because gas is so expensive, but you get the idea. It's not really comparable, you know? Who's on rednecks?
Secure the bombs.
What the? That drone just disappeared. Was that a drone?
Device prime. Keep an eye on door.
10 seconds. 5 seconds and counting. Or has yet to locate a bomb.
Swapping mags.
No! Think it close on the window on east stairs. Oh, you can run out on her east. Right on this east door, you can see her. Oh, she's peeking the window now. Called it. Oh.
Activated.
The U.S. should have started moving to electric cars and stuff. I mean, probably, yeah, but it's also... One's top middle stair. One's coming through office. 2 office right now. They're in office. 3 office. 3 in office. Careful your fountain. Alright, the other one's going there as well, too. All 4 are office.
Last operator standing. Op 4 found a bomb. You must defend it.
Yeah, Ricky.
All friendlies have been neutralized.
Freaks. What's on though, dude? I mean, electric cars only really caught up to like traditional gasoline powered cars like fairly recently. For the most part. Fairly recently. I mean, GM tried to make an electric car even in the 90s. They spent like $1 billion in 1990 money, and it like failed. I'm gonna make a sudden trip to Amsterdam on July 15th to the 17th. I don't know. I don't think so. Travel would be nice, but no, nothing for me.
Reinforce the wall.
Device primed. Keep an eye on doors. EDD primed. Stand clear.
I'm sure that the, I'm sure that the oil lobby helped kill electric cars. I don't doubt it and stuff, but it's also not as simple as just like, oh, just get electric cars, forehead. Like, it's not. I mean, a lot of the there's a lot of like issues with doing, even if you just magically gave every single person in the US an electric car right now, or like converted their car somehow for free. I mean, you still have to, like, obviously, is it a good goal long term? Yes, but like short term, our like power grid would even be able to handle that.
Your location is compromised.
Mm. I mean, all that stuff is very easy to say in hindsight, dude. That's all I'm saying. Like, there's obviously a lot of factors that influence things, but it's literally, like, people always do this. They do, like, the Captain Hindsight thing, right? You gotta think this is a time before the internet. This is a time before, like, a lot of fucking information was available. People just made the best decisions they had with, like, the information they had at the time. That's it. Right. Also, battery pack installs are really, really, really expensive. I mean, I like electric overall, and, you know, I plan on getting, like, an electric car eventually and stuff, but I think it's a better option. But I think it's, like, it's really just, it's very easy to just, like, say things in hindsight, I guess. Generate your electricity via solar, boom, problem solved. I mean, making it out to be that simplistic is, I guess it's just that easy.
Located a bomb.
I guess it's just that easy, dude.
Mission successful.
I guess you magically just produce all of your energy through solar. Enough for electric cars, enough for everything, dude. Enough for everything. Just magical solar productions. I mean, we're having trouble keeping up with solar production now, where we've, like, the technology has moved forward a lot. I mean, if anything, maybe nuclear would be able to support all of that, but, like, definitely not solar.
We need to locate a bomb.
It's a long transition, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's not like you have to have, like, literally, you have to have, like, quite literally 50 years, like, of insight on this type of thing, right? We either build solar panels, but you're just assuming that solar panels are as efficient as they are now 50 years ago, bro. Like, that's,
10 seconds
like, it's
before
not a
insertion.
thing. Like, you're also assuming the weather's gonna be perfect all the time. You're assuming that battery and storage solutions are 50 years ago what they are now. Like, you're looking at modern technology that's quite literally advanced in the last few years to be at the level that it is. I mean, clearly if it was this easy and then it was the solution, it would have happened, right? But clearly it's not, you know. Monitor's all clear.
Hello there! Ready for impact!
Located a bomb.
office.
One friendly operator remaining.
I'm not saying that, but you're assuming that like
All friendlies have been eliminated.
you're assuming like a lot of the technology that we have right now, the reason that it's so efficient and stuff, and the reason that it's viable is because of technology that have quite literally moved forward in like the past 5 or 10 years, especially like battery, like I said, advancements in batteries. A lot of this stuff is run by software and like chips and stuff that are newer. Like this is not like you can't go back 50 years ago and just like magically create all of these technologies. So when you're planning, like I'm not saying it's not the solution like to look forward now, which it clearly pretty much is, you know, but you're talking about 50 years ago having the foresight for this, where there's no internet, there's no computers virtually, right? Everything is pen and paper or a typewriter. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you're
We need to locate
like,
a bomb.
I don't know how this is so hard to understand. You're literally chalking up like the entire history of like the automobile and like energy production of like, well, just create solar panels in 1950. Like, what?
10 seconds before insertion. 5 seconds. You must locate and defuse a bomb.
Get clear!
You located a bomb.
There's actually two there. One's on east stairs, one's on the balcony on east.
Activating surge! Deploying shock drone.
You must recover the diffuser.
I
Down
mean,
one
I'm
friendly.
not saying
Op
that, but
4
you're saying
eliminated
like,
all friendlies.
my point is you're saying that this stuff should have happened 50 years ago. It's like, oh, it's so easy, just magically create a technology that didn't exist 50 years ago. That's my point. Obviously now, even like I said, I'm not saying now it would just be like you're trying to create infrastructure that takes years and years, and you're trying to make it happen now, in a minute, in 5 seconds, because gas prices went up a month ago. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, it's clearly like the sign of someone who's like never in their entire life dealt with like actual real life situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, has never seen how slow government or large corporations or even individuals move on things like that. One more game, then we get to see our rank. I mean, yeah, you can't change the past, and a lot of the reason that this stuff, like I said, a lot of the reason this stuff is viable now is because of technological advancements that have like are really recent. So, plus, there's a big thing of like, generally speaking, when things are working, People just are like, oh, like, well, it's working. Like, why mess with it? Like, that's kind of the way things are for like a lot. I don't know, generally speaking. So like, if people are driving cars and they're filling their cars up and they're able to drive them and they're decently reliable and whatever, they're not, you know. Yeah, they could have started this all 30 years ago, sure. Maybe 30 years ago, they could have like slowly started moving this way and we could have been in a better place right now. But I mean, I think really any further back than that would have been like pretty damn near impossible. Yes, but you're still talking about a 50-year period. You're talking about like, you know, Steel Bay Knight, thank you the Prime sub. You think that they're saying is the push for innovation 50 years ago wasn't the same as today's effort to innovate? I mean, probably, yeah, but I mean, there wasn't a need, right? People didn't feel a need back then. Gas was, generally speaking, pretty cheap, plentiful, reliable, right? People didn't feel the need. Like, you know, climate change wasn't as well understood back then by like most average people and stuff, right? You also need to make this stuff make sense financially most of the time, right? I don't want to play Cafe. Actually, I don't want to play Border twice in a row. So, you know, you have to understand like the you know, education of the general population then, and even politicians and people who plan these things out, like city planners. Tesla, it's 5K to install a charging station in your home. No, it's not. You could just plug it into a regular plug in the wall. It charges really slow, but you could. You definitely don't need to do that. And if you have access to 240 volt in your house already, then you could like do that for way cheaper. Like I have 240 in my garage. I could install a level 2 charging system in my garage for probably less than $500 right now. And there's a rebate from my electric company for $500, so it's free, you know. Exxon admitted knowing about climate change in the 60s. Oh, of course they did. I've seen that PBS documentary as well. But, like, my point is that the general public didn't really know about that back then. We're back on Border. It's 5K in New York to install a Tesla charge. I don't think it is, but anyway. With only frontline viewers under 60, probably. Dude, PBS documentaries are all on YouTube and they're great. They are great. No, you shouldn't drop out to pursue professional career in Siege. Holy shit, are people fucking stupid.
Insertion in 10 seconds. 5 seconds before insertion. Your mission is to locate and defuse bomb.
There's literally no reason why you can't, like, I always tell people this, if you want to play professionally or do content creation, don't quit your job or school. 99.9% of people are not, like, more, like, a greater than 99.9, like, 9+% of people are never gonna, it's never gonna work out for you. So if it's something you want to do it as your hobby. Don't stop pursuing your education, or work, or whatever it is. I literally worked while I was in Pro League. There's no fucking excuse. Don't stop making excuses. You can do both at the same time. It's not that hard. And then when you eventually fail, because this is your plan in life, then at least you have school or work as a backup.
Your location has been compromised. Op 4 last operator standing.
Reloading ammo.
Op 4 eliminated.
I don't know yet. I don't know. We're not doing this. People always, the reason I'm getting annoyed right now is because people always do this shit as like some like annoying ass like passive question of like me going on a tangent and eventually like, oh bro, can you buy the, I'll play with you, but I don't know. It's always some weird shit where they try to like self promote or like some passive way. We're not doing this. Go to fucking school, work, play Siege in your free time. If it ends up working out, great. If not, don't quit your fucking job or school. Don't be a dumbass. Don't ask stupid questions.
We need to locate a bomb.
There's no way it costs $5,000 to install like a charging system for a car. You could literally just take any electric car and plug it in the wall like a regular plug. It's very slow to charge, so generally people get level 2 chargers installed. If you have access to 240 or 220, whatever it is, then you could just pretty much plug into that and have a level 2 charger with nothing, or you could have one built into the 240 line. The 220, I keep like fucking mixing them up, and that's it. It's not that expensive. It's like a few $100 to do that generally, plus the actual unit itself. You know, in the grand scheme of things, where there's $5, $6, $7, $8, $10 gas, you know, that's not that bad. You save a lot of money. So it pays itself off. More upfront, whatever. But it's not $5,000. Unless maybe you don't have 220 like in that area and you need to bring 220 to that area and it's like a really far area and they're like, you know, cutting up drywall and like walls and shit maybe. I mean maybe then, but that's about the only way I can think that would happen. One's a half wall maestro. We needed to get rid of that evil eye. Was just spamming me.
Op 4 last operator standing.
I don't know. I think it's like 220 or something. It's for like whatever appliances and stuff like that run on 220. Psycho Boy, I think the premise of somebody of yours had to actually dig and connect it into the grid. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they had a house with like or an apartment or something with like really old wiring. But I mean, in any house that's been built in the past 50 years or so, or like 60, probably even like 60, 70 years, it's going to be installing faster charging. Once again, it's free to just plug in the wall. Obviously, just the cost of the electricity. But if you want faster charging on your vehicle at your house, you could pay to have it. It's generally under $1,000, and there's normally big rebates. There's like tax rebates. There's like, it depends on the state, I guess. I don't know. I haven't looked into it much, but generally speaking, there's tax rebates and there's rebates with your electrical company. So generally, installing that charger is free, or very like at most maybe $200 to $300. Like if I end up doing one myself personally, it'll just be free. Because like I have 220 or 240, whatever the fuck it is, running into my garage already. So it's literally just put another plate in the wall and that's it. You know, like next to it. So whatever the cost that is, it'll be.
We need to locate a bomb.
Maybe like $5,000 would be like layout. Maybe like level 3 for like a taxi company or something. Yeah, like where you're charging like a lot of vehicles, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe. You want the world to look like when everybody has electric cars? I don't think that's gonna happen personally for probably about 20 years, I would guess. You know, I'm not an expert. If there's anybody else here, but I don't think that's gonna happen overnight. But it'll probably be nice. Our air will probably be cleaner. I mean, I noticed when people were not driving during COVID, the air was like literally cleaner in my area. It was pretty awesome. There was noticeable amounts of less pollution over cities. So it'll be nice when it actually does happen. But it's not gonna be a it's not gonna be like a one-day process or anything, you know. Fuck! Please trade me out, bro. Oh my god, we're throwing.
Last operator standing.
Beep, 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 beep.
Lunar, Lupus, thank you for 15 months. Psycho Boy for the Prime. Steelbane Knight for the Prime. Tigers for the 14 months.
Watch my back.
Okay, Ani's stairs right now around this 5 ping, but he's moving up. Yeah, on Valk now. What? How did this guy jump down? What are you doing? Okay, whatever.
Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
We're getting done, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, electric cars are definitely they're awesome. They're definitely, you know, cleaner. They're the future for sure. But it's not going to be like people that think like, oh, everyone's gonna have like an electric car in like 5 years. I don't think so. I think it's gonna take a while. It's definitely gonna take a while. And the one actual concern that like I personally have too, that I feel kind of bad for, is like, so right now, like if you don't have a ton of money, right, like you can go buy a used gasoline powered car for like, you know, not a ton of money, right?
Beep,
But
beep, 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 beep.
it definitely affects people of like lower, like if people that don't have as much money or are poor, right? Like, you know, for me, I consider myself very fortunate. I'm in a position where I could, you know, get an electric car, right, in the future. Well, what about people that can't, right? I mean, if there's a used car in the future that's electric, the battery packs are really expensive, right? Unless maybe there's some system, maybe they just get that much cheaper over time, I guess, but it's a legitimate big concern that people don't really think about that much.
Setting trauma pack here.
Be advised, Op 4 has found a bomb.
Because you can pick up a running gasoline powered car for not a lot of money, probably like $1,000 or so. There's actually already a bunch of companies that are able to recycle lithium and like nickel and cobalt and pretty much everything that's in a battery. There's like actually like a bunch of companies that are doing it. So the cost is not there yet. It's getting pretty close though. As the cost of the actual, you know, commodities rise.
C4 deployed.
As the cost of the actual commodities rise, right? Like lithium, nickel, cobalt, whatever, it'll just be more, it'll be cheaper to recycle those materials. So. You're talking about carbon capture. Carbon capture is a thing, but it's not really like there yet. Hey.
Keep that area on duty.
Oh, one sec.
You have been spotted by hostiles.
Like
Fall back.
it's not gonna be like, you know,
Loading new mag.
saving our future unless it ges really like much cheaper, better, and effective like virtually overnight. You know, unlikely.
Has been
That's what I'm
compromised.
trying to say. Hopefully it does. I hope that you know, it does, but as of right now, we're not quite there. But yeah, there's actually like a bunch of companies that are investing into that and like trying to make it like more cost effective and stuff. It'll be cool. That would be great.
Friendly victorious.
That would be
Hostile
amazing.
eliminated.
I'm using Reflex C. But I wouldn't at least anywhere with the current technology and the technology that seems to be coming in the pipeline. Once again, I'm not an expert on this, but I mean, I wouldn't count on it to be saving us. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Plat 2, my first rank. Go. I'm gonna come over with it 1 second. Okay. Hey. The big three have a 2030 commitment to be at 40 to 50% of sales of EVs, will not be 100. They claim they want to by like, but the thing is, there's no like actual commitment there. Like they're just saying, like they want, right? But that doesn't really like mean anything. You know what I'm saying? That's like me saying like I want to do XYZ in a bunch of years, but I'm making like no actual commitment to it. Like I'm gonna make a setup video by like January, and like now it's June, and I still don't have a setup video. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really mean anything. Like I'm gonna do it eventually, but like I set a time, but it doesn't like, you know, there's nothing holding me to it. That's kind of how it is for like the auto manufacturers. All right, I'll be right back.